and welcome to My Career in Data, a podcast where we discuss with industry leaders and experts how they have built their careers. I'm your host, Shannon Kemp, and today we're talking to Marcia Rhode from Marcia Rhode Coaching and Consulting Services.
With a robust catalog of courses offered on demand and industry-leading live online sessions throughout the year, the DATAVERSITY Training Center is your launchpad for career success. Browse the complete catalog at training.dataversity.net and use code DVTalks for 20% off your purchase.
Hello and welcome. My name is Shannon Kemp, and I'm the Chief Digital Officer at DATAVERSITY, and this is My Career in Data, a DATAVERSITY Talks podcast dedicated to learning from those who have careers in data management, to understand how they got there, and to talk with people who help make those careers a little bit easier. To keep up to date in the latest in data management education, go to dataversity.net/subscribe. Today, we are joined by Marcia Rhode, the leadership coach from Marcia Rhode Coaching and Consulting Services. And normally, this is where a podcast host would read a short bio of the guest. But in this podcast, your bio is what we're here to talk about. Marcia, hello and welcome.
Hello, Shannon.
I'm so glad you could join me today. And I'm going to give a shout out to our friend Anne-Marie, who introduced us.
Yes.
I love making connections through others. So tell me, you were the leadership coach of Marcia Rhode Coaching and Consulting Services. So tell me, what type of business is Marcia Rhode Coaching and Consulting Services?
Well, it's kind of self-explanatory, a coaching organization. We do leadership and team coaching dedicated to helping people thrive in today's unpredictable, VUCA-filled world. We help clients and leaders in tech and finance, manufacturing, retail. They come to me during pivotal periods like career shifts, leadership transitions, or interpersonal challenges. Work together to build emotional resilience, to help manage those transitions, level up skills, and increase awareness.
Oh, very, very cool. So I think it's pretty self-explanatory, but I'm going to ask it regardless. As the leadership coach, what is it you do?
Well, the International Coaching Federation, which is a credentialing organization for coaches, defines coaching as partnering with clients in a thought-provoking and creative process, inspires them to maximize their personal and professional potential. Kind of translated, it's a structured sort of process where a coach helps someone to identify their goals, to develop their skills, to overcome challenges. And we do that by active listening, thoughtful, thought-provoking questions, helping support them in the goals that they want to accomplish. We do this through guided questioning, offering feedback, and supporting them to be accountable to their goals.
Wow, I love that. So tell me, Marcia, how do you work with data in your job?
Very different from being a business analyst, I have to say. I do use data and I think more about information in everything I do in coaching. Things like the client's background, their profession, and specific concerns, goals, what are their assessments, what are the possible approaches to support them. So it's very different from business data analysis, but it kind of comes to a lot of the same ideas that you're looking to understand and make sense of what's, in this case, a person's goals and future.
Nice. Now, you mentioned being a business analyst, and it was a data person who connected us, but we'll get back into that here in a second. So, let's back it up all the way here. So tell me, when you were, say, 6 years old, what was the dream? What did you want to be when you grew up? Did you want to be a leadership coach? What was the goal?
I had no idea. I don't even think I thought about it. I don't remember thinking about it. I came from a small town and old world culture that expected me to get married and, have a domestic kind of lifestyle. So no, I didn't think about any of that at all. When I got to high school, I got involved with the yearbook and newspaper, so I was really interested in photography. So when I went to college, I decided to major in advertising. And that went only so far until I couldn't really take it anymore, what I had to learn in advertising. So I switched to a psych degree. So I ended up being a psych major, and not a lot of opportunities for psych majors with a bachelor's degree.
Oh, that's fascinating. So, well, what would you do out of college then? What's your first job?
Oh, well, believe it or not, I ran a daycare center. Long story there, but it was I'll tell you, that experience has helped me so much ever since in terms of how to get people, in this case children, to cooperate and get along. So that was a very fundamental lesson about managing people. So I bounced around and then ended up in kind of a low-level admin position for a state agency. And it was tough because it was boring, but this was way back. This agency bought a computer system and took volunteers to learn it. So I volunteered, and it was really more like a glorified word processing system, but that helped me in my job because my role was to administer federal block grants for economic development that were being distributed to the local organizations. So I was able to automate that whole process. And really that woke me up to the idea of what could be done with it, and things like concepts like management reporting, which was a new concept for me. So I did that and ended up feeling it was pretty much, there was no future in that. So I took a networking class and was encouraged to apply for a systems analyst job, and just as practice. So I did that. It was a very large state agency, and I did the interview and it went really well. They offered me a position that was higher than the one I applied for. And I was shocked. I was shocked because I knew nothing about being a systems analyst. After a few months, I asked them, why did you hire me? And they said, well, you interviewed well and you had a strong background in psych and history and music. And they had determined that gave me the aptitude to be a good systems analyst. Luckily, they trained me. A lot of immersed in data and process modeling courses, a lot of on-the-job training. I worked with big accounting firm consultants that came in to help on various projects. This organization was building an enterprise data model. So that was my first real exposure to data modeling besides training. I worked on design and testing for the state payroll and encumbrance systems, agency budgeting. So anyway, that was that job. So I got a lot of experience, a lot of training, which led me to another job. I took a lateral to get as a data analyst. And that was rough because I was the only person on the team who had not coded. I was not a programmer. And therefore, they believed that I wasn't useful. But my boss did. So did that, put some data modeling programs in place, and then I moved into a team leadership role for financial systems development and support. So I managed 10 folks, and I enjoyed it to an extent, and then it got boring. So there was an opportunity to move into a strategic planning project. It was supported by the company, very strongly supported by the company. It was a one-year effort that exposed me to every aspect of that organization. We had, like I said, great support, and it was a real learning experience. And I was just fascinated. I loved it. We did models, we did data models, process models. We came up with a plan to go forward. And one of the recommendations was to implement a data management system. I guess I would put it that way. And that included building a data warehouse, which was a brand new concept at that time. So I led the first data warehouse project, and that was a really enlightening experience. I learned a whole lot. I was fortunate to have been able to hire and learn from Claudia Emhoff, and that got me in touch with Bill Inman, who taught me all about subject areas, which at the time for me was not an easy concept. And the project was really ideal. It was a soup to nuts. We did hardware and software acquisition, data model, metadata management, a cross-functional data stewardship program. So I was immersed in that. At the same time, around this time, I met John Zachman and was totally blown away by his Zachman framework. It really appealed to me, the whole structure and how to look at systems development in general. So another leap to the acting IT director, which involved reorganization of the IT department to reflect a larger focus on data management. It was not popular with a lot of the people there. I did not enjoy that role. I was not really ready. I was much more interested in projects. I wanted to see outcomes. So I was encouraged to move into consulting. And so I started my consulting career and as an independent, and I stayed pretty independent for about 15 years. On and off, I worked in and out of different organizations. So I did a lot of traveling. I worked doing data warehousing analysis, modeler training for mainly Fortune 500 companies. So I was on the road a whole lot, but I enjoyed the work tremendously. It was very intellectually stimulating. So, tracking through my long and winding road, I ended up with a hard stop. After 15 years, I had intended to keep doing that kind of work, but I needed to stop to help my family. My mom particularly was ill, and I couldn't help her when I was on the road. So I thought about what I wanted to do and how I could sort of morph into doing sort of the similar work, but closer to home. And then I hit a health challenge, and that kind of knocked me out of doing that kind of work at all. So I thought about it and decided to go back to school and get my master's in leadership and organizational development. And the reason I did that is because after thinking about it a lot and looking at my past experience, I realized that just about every development project failed in one way or another. And it might look okay, but we knew behind the scenes it might be chewing gum and strings. And I also noticed that it really wasn't the technology that was the problem, it was the people around it. And it's not that they were bad people, but in that sense, or, not, they were qualified and smart, but they just didn't know how to work together. So I thought, I guess this kind of loops back into my psych experience, that I wanted to be in a role, to have the credibility to help people from that perspective on a team, and not as a leader of the project and doing the work, but really supporting the teams. And so anyway, I was working on my master's, and I ran into coaching, which was offered as an elective. And then I found that was really what I was looking for, that coaching was the avenue for accomplishing what I wanted to do. And I think in a nutshell, that's my long and winding road.
Oh, I love it. There's so many points of interest and so many points of taking huge steps and leaps. I mean, I want to ask you, I mean, so there was zero expectations just in the beginning. You mentioned there's zero expectations for you to have a job.
Right.
So, what made you want to take that leap into a career, well, going to school and building yourself?
Oh, that's a good question. Well, I always worked. My dad had a business, and I worked for him. So I was accustomed to working and feeling, having something to do. The motivation, I think, to go to school immediately was just to spread my wings, to get out and learn something different. So I didn't have a goal like I'm going to come out of college and be an XYZ. I guess at one time I thought I might do teaching, but I didn't enjoy those courses. So I just kind of winged it, not ever really knowing exactly where I was going to end up, but never giving up.
Yeah.
I guess that's the only way I can explain it. I just felt compelled to move forward and to be independent. That was a huge thing for me, that I could support myself, take care of myself, that I didn't need to get married to have a good life. It was kind of stemming from that feeling, I think.
Oh, very interesting. And I love how I mean, being a daycare, in charge of a daycare, you must use that life lesson. That's a interesting skill that you built there. Often, and another huge leap to transition almost straight into data.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, I mean, it was kind of a slower, it wasn't an immediate jump into data. It was, there were some little side, I would say little detours, but really they were detours on the way to leading me to the kind of work that I truly enjoyed, that I felt good at, that I felt challenged by. And that was very important. I would say the thing about the daycare, what I learned is, and I still use it. I mean, I still have this understanding that when people, if they don't know what they're supposed to do and they don't know the implications or the outcomes of what their behavior will take them, if they don't have a framework or a guideline, it goes amok. And once there's clarity about how the rules work and what happens if, that the children worked together and cooperated a whole lot more, and it was a much more enjoyable experience from my first year doing it to my second year after I figured that out. And so I think there's a similar parallel to working in business, that people need to know what they're supposed to do and not supposed to do, and that having that clarity and that understanding amongst the team builds greater cooperation and productivity.
Visit dataversity.net and expand your knowledge with thousands of articles and blogs written by industry experts, plus free live and on-demand webinars covering the complete data management spectrum. While you're there, subscribe to the weekly newsletter so you'll never miss a beat.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, and later in your career, thank you for sharing how life's challenges can change our direction.
Yep.
And how you used a really hard time and you turned it into an opportunity, and just weren't afraid to go back to school and start something totally different.
Yeah.
So, I mean, that's some serious strength to take that initiative.
Yeah, at the time it sort of seemed like I need to do something. I kind of have a hungry mind, and I don't like to just not have anything to do, to accomplish. And I did feel very passionately about the work I had done and the issues that had arisen that kind of made some of the projects uncomfortable or unpleasant because of the usually miscommunication or short shrifting the analysis and development aspects, or the, really the analysis of it. So, I guess I had that desire, to figure stuff out, to be useful, to be challenged. I think that's, regardless, even though I didn't know where I was going, I was always interested and curious about what I could be doing and how could I use what I already know to move into something different.
Oh, I love it. So tell me, Marcia, what's been your biggest lesson so far in your career?
Well, that's a big question. I think in my tech career, I think it's, it's not the tech, it's the people. That if you're not happy at work, if you don't know what you're supposed to be doing, if it's unclear, then it's very hard to be productive. And more importantly, it's hard to have what I want to call a happy life, or, I would say happy life. And so in that regard, people make the difference between success and failure, between the positive work environment and a toxic work environment. And I know that sounds really obvious, but it's in I think often in tech, we don't think about that so much. We think about the technology and getting the project done, and we don't think about kind of the people that we're talking to, and are we getting all the information like we need it. So yeah, I think that's a big one, to focus on more the people doing the work, not just the work itself.
Yeah.
I think, another lesson is you never know where you're going to go, where you're going to end up. You just keep going, which is kind of how my life has gone. And I'd say for that, your intentions guide your actions. So even if I didn't know what I was going to be when I grew up, my intention was to be something, and was to be engaged and compensated.
Yeah. It's so true. I don't know anybody, and especially everybody I've talked to in their career. I mean, the point of this podcast is to really highlight how many diverse paths there are into data and beyond, right?
Yes, there really are.
Mm-hmm.
I would say I had no clue what data management was when I started out. Never heard the words.
Yeah. Most of us, I think that's true for most of us,
Yeah.
at least of a certain age. I won't, but speaking for myself. But on that note, so tell me, Marcia, what is your definition of data?
Well, I think I would go pretty much with the textbook. Data is just, raw figures without any context. It's a number, it's a color, it doesn't mean anything really by itself. And so, yeah, I think that's pretty straightforward. I think a lot of people, when they say data, they mean information. So looking at, so we've got data, information is putting that data into context. So that's where a lot of us stop. But the next step is really knowledge. How do we interpret that information, that data, and how do we use it to make something happen? How do we use it to make something useful?
Indeed. And I agree that it's that last step that's so important and often gets missed.
Yeah, I really see that too.
Mm-hmm. So do you see the importance of data management and the number of jobs working with data increasing or decreasing over the next 10 years, and why?
I do. I mean, I'm not in the business so much anymore, but I do kind of keep my eye on it because it's still very interesting to me. I've gone back and forth thinking, oh man, this is going to wipe out some data-related jobs, but I don't think so. I think when I think about it more deeply, I think that AI can really help cut through and streamline a lot of the nitty-gritty data excavation work that takes so much time. That if you could have that more easily presented, you can make it, then that becomes knowledge. Then you can start to make more informed decisions and hopefully faster. So I think we still need humans to interpret and put the data in context. So I do think that AI is a great tool for sort of, I wouldn't, like I said, streamline the analysis process. Yeah. And I think more time will then be spent understanding data. So,
Yeah. Getting to that third point of knowledge.
yeah.
So then what advice would you give to people looking to get into a career in data management?
Well, learn everything you can. If there's training at work, even if it doesn't seem directly related, take it. It opens up a lot more thinking, a lot more ideas. And being a woman in data management, I'd say don't be afraid to stand up for your perspective, for what you think is right, because it's really easy to be shouted down, so to speak, and that's happened a number of times. And I've learned when I stand up and say that's not right, even if it is to the director of XYZ, I get more respect. And but you kind of know when you're standing up that you're standing up for the right thing. But don't. I just think speak up. And really, I think I would say improve your people management skills. Even if you're not a manager, the more you can get along with people, because data is a service. So treating the people that you're working with kind of as customers. So when I say coaching skills, it's like active listening, deeper questions. Yeah, so I think that would be my advice, because the technology is going to keep changing, but those things don't.
That's very good advice. We've been doing a lot of research into what our community is wanting education in. And it's the soft skills as much as the data management skills.
Yeah.
As far as the logistical skills or the data governance skills. I did a search recently, said, okay, what's the number one skill needed for a CDO, a chief data officer? And it was communication.
Right.
So do you find yourself in your new career, new path of as a leadership coach, working with a lot of people in data, a lot of data practitioners?
Sometimes, often. I do find that I work with a lot of folks in IT. Tends to be leaders of some kind, like either a people leader or a thought leader, but not always in tech. That's for sure. But quite a bit, because I think my resume kind of probably attracts that as well. Having been through the trenches and in the trenches.
Sure. Yeah.
Corporate data management and just being in corporate, and how do you, there's always stuff coming at you, and not everybody is clear about what they want to do, or they're not happy in their work, but they don't know what to do, or they've hit a snag in their career. So that can kind of happen in any industry, I guess. But definitely, I just spoke with a client the other day who was trying to lead a database project, but he's not hands-on. And it was really a struggle for him, not understanding kind of, why this project wasn't really working and why couldn't they get the database done. And so anyway, it was an interesting discussion, one that I've experienced before. Like, how do you get to the bottom of that? Yeah. So I think, yeah.
Yeah, it's there's so much to learn on so many different levels. It's not just learning how to code. It's learning how to be better humans, right?
Well, yeah. I mean, kind of in a fundamental way. When we work is such a huge part of our lives, and if work is not going well, or it's not the right fit for you, that colors everything. So
Yeah.
my passion is helping people, find their own answers. I mean, like I say, coaching can kind of get confused sometimes with mentoring, which is giving people advice, or consulting, which is doing it. But coaching is helping someone else find their answers. So, like we said, it's people-oriented, soft skills, things that help you understand yourself better, understanding other people better, so that you can make a decision, is this the right job for me? Or maybe there are some behaviors that you might need to change to get more of what you want. So that's kind of where I fit in, is being sometimes a sounding board for people just not sure what to make of what's happening with their experience. So the goal is to find clarity and develop resilience, so that the next time something comes around that's tough, you've got the skill set to do it.
Indeed. And you mentioned how work can color our life because it's such a big part of it. And it reminds me of a talk I heard many years ago by a woman talking about work-life balance and how annoyed she was that people demanded that she only, work X number of hours in order to have a work-life balance. But she's like, when I love my work,
Right.
and I love to do what I do, why is it a crime to work more hours? Why should I be criticized for that? It's
Right.
Work isn't separate from life, it's part of life.
Yes, and ideally, I mean, we could all have that, that it's not a separate thing. I mean, yes, there's personal things and professional things that are different, but it's not such a hard boundary, and you don't have to fight so hard to make that boundary.
Yeah.
Yeah, the people, tend to think that if I just work more hours, it'll, I'll do better. But often that's not the case. It's working smarter. So coaching kind of helps ferret all that out. And that's what I find fascinating, much like back when I was doing analysis for data warehousing or data integration projects. It's trying to get down to what it really means and how does it work together? How can it be useful for someone? So that's kind of what jazzes me.
Oh, I love it. Oh, well, Marcia, I'd be remiss if I didn't ask if people wanted to solicit your services, where would they go?
Well, my LinkedIn is the best way. I'm working through some different coaching organizations, but I also do private coaching as well. So I do that through LinkedIn, and that's really just the best way, or email me.
Perfect. We'll definitely get your LinkedIn posted to the podcast page here when we publish this. Oh, well, Marcia, thank you so much for taking the time to chat today. This has been a pleasure to get to know you better and talk some more.
Well, thank you, Shannon. It's been a real experience, kind of recapping or thinking through kind of what my journey really was or has been, and so I appreciate the opportunity to share it.
Well, I would say it's been a very impressive journey. So thank you for sharing. Indeed.
Thank you.
And to all our listeners out there, if you'd like to keep up to date on the latest podcasts and the latest in data management education, you may go to dataversity.net/subscribe. Until next time, stay curious, everyone. Thank you for listening to DATAVERSITY Talks, a podcast brought to you by DATAVERSITY. Subscribe to our newsletter for podcast updates and information about our free educational webinars at dataversity.net/subscribe.